Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather, bringing you a forecast update for tonight. We'll talk about the heavy rain threat coming this weekend. That's the bulk of the video here. But just really quickly, out there, clouds starting to thin down. That's a good thing. If you are an astronomy buff, well, Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight, so we may actually have some decent viewing conditions for that. I think there'll still be some clouds around from time to time, but it does look like there will be some breaks. That is a good thing. Just look to the east. The meteors will, to the northeast, the meteors will appear as if they are radiating from the constellation Perseus, which is just a little bit to the right of the North Star Polaris, if you are looking at it. So just generally look in the north and the east direction high in the sky, and you'll be able to see some meteors. The best time's probably going to be, though, after the moon sets tonight, which will be about 1 a.m. or so, midnight Central Time. So really during the overnight hours from about 1 a.m. all the way through sunrise, going to be the best time tonight. And again, the sky's thinning out a little bit, so hopefully that will cooperate for us. Shower activity sort of dwindling down as well. If we sort of head out here to the continental U.S., though, let's take a look at what's going on with this. Here's a very complicated setup going on for us this weekend. There's our cold front back up to the north. That's going to be a big influencer. There's also this low pressure down to the south, which is just a very deep tropical rich system here. Let me go ahead and stop the motion here on this, and you can kind of see what I mean with that. If I just go ahead and take off the surface observations, you can see things maybe a little bit better here. Let me take off that satellite there as well, and there you can see all the rain that's associated with it. But I tell you, let me put in the amount of moisture we've got going on here in the atmosphere. If it decides to load here, it is just oh man, it is absolutely ridiculous how much moisture we have going on here. It's apparently not wanting to load, of course, when you want it to, but bottom line is we have just, it's steamy out here, to say the least. Well, let me sort of show you what's going to go on with all this. This cold front is going to rapidly advance our way. Now, at the same time, this low pressure is going to sort of come up and meet that cold front once it gets here. But we have a high pressure that's going to be coming in off to our east, and that's going to sort of put the brakes on this and slow this little cold front down and say, hey, you can't do that. And that means the cold front's going to stall out along the area, and as it stalls out then along the area, that means this low pressure here sort of going to be able to ride up along that stalled cold front, and really multiple waves are going to go there. You notice this moisture down in here. This is from a dying tropical system, Javier, which has come in from Baja on the coast. There's some remnants of that. That's even going to travel up this stalled cold front. So multiple complex ingredients going on for this in the coming days. There's the moisture for us, and you can just see the dew points just absolutely soaring around the area. It is just all kinds of tropical moisture coming in from that. I think I can show it to you a little bit better if we go through some of the maps over here. First off, here's that cold front as it advances to us. Here's on Friday. Notice how rapidly it comes to us. By the time we're here to Saturday morning, there's the cold front, but then it starts to slow down. And you notice here between Saturday morning and Saturday night, not really a whole lot of movement going on. By the time you hit Sunday morning, it's draped pretty much right over southern Indiana there. Into Monday morning, stalled out right over the area. Tuesday morning, there it is, stalled out again. Can you guess what it's going to do on Wednesday? Boy, it's ridiculous. On Wednesday, it's just sort of stalled out. And again, you've got that high pressure off to our east that's pumping the brakes on it. And what the key to this forecast, folks, where the heavy rain is really going to fall is right in the area where that cold front stalls out. And to be honest, that may vary back and forth over the course of the few days that this rain is going to fall, depending on exactly how strong this high pressure decides to get and whether it budges or not. Does it retreat a little bit here to the east, or does it retrograde back a little to the west? Cold front is never going to be able to push a high pressure out of the way. It's just going to come into a high pressure, and it's going to be like hitting a wall. The brakes are going to go on, and it ain't going to go anywhere, and that's pretty much what we're going to have. Unfortunately, that's going to leave us with a lot of moisture, and if we just take a look at that moisture, this is what we call the PWAT. This is precipitable water. This is an amount of moisture in the atmosphere, and what you've got here is just an insane amount of moisture. There's the cold front, by the way, coming down. Here's the system up from the Gulf pumping up that moisture, and as they meet up, there they merge together, and you've just got that Gulf moisture over the weekend. In fact, way above normal moisture. At times you're getting into the pink shades. That's 2.6, almost even 3. Here, this is just absolutely ridiculous that 3 inches or so of rain available in the precipitable water. In other words, this is saying that if the atmosphere were to rain out what it could rain 3 inches an hour. Now, it rarely ever does that. This is just the potential for it. It's a measure of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. It's another way of saying here that anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches of rain per hour is what the potential is for these downpours that could come to us because of all this moisture being pumped in our way. And by the way, if you were to look at a PWAT map like this from what a tropical system, what a hurricane would look like, it looked very similar. This is the kind of moisture that we would see with that. So absolutely ridiculous. We take a look at what it's going to do here. We'll look at the Euro model. The Euro model has been by far the most consistent with this. There's the cold front right there, dropping down from the north. Here is the moisture from this low pressure riding up here to the south. They marry happily together, and then watch what happens. It's just wave after wave after wave. Here we are all the way into Monday now. And we're coming into overnight hours on Tuesday. Here we are into Tuesday morning. Heavy rain still over us. And then here we are now into Wednesday. Rain still around. So the idea here is that we're going to have a ridiculous amount of rain. How much rain are we talking about? If you believe what the Euro model is saying, look at this. Just a huge swath of moisture all the way down. There's where the low is right now, and it marries up with this cold front, and it's just this huge swath of moisture, and it sort of zeroes in right here over southern Indiana and back into southern Illinois and Missouri and all over in here, get the heaviest swath of rain according to this. Now, we'll have to see exactly how much, whether this really shakes out or not. But I will say this, the Euro has been very consistent over the previous few days about giving us this very heavy rain threat. We will see. If you remember a tropical system back in, was it Isaac? Or no, it wasn't Isaac. Which one was it? I can't remember. 4 or 5 years ago. It was back in 2012, I think. And it was forecast to give us a big dose of rain. It went to the west of us last minute. Is that possible? Well, we're not going to rule it out. I don't know about you. I wouldn't be unhappy if the 8-inch rains move off to our west. That'd be perfectly fine with me. We certainly don't need that kind of rain around here. But as of right now, it is targeting those heavy rains on us. What would the rain totals be with this? Let's look at the raw data. Here's what the raw data says for here, the Southern Indiana Weather Office. Look here, almost 5 inches of rain over the course of the next 10 days on this. Really, if you're looking at the bulk of this, the bulk of it does really come. We're starting out here on Friday. Here's Saturday right here, and we're moving on, and every time interval you're just adding more and more onto this. What would we be looking at for others? Evansville, 6.31 inches on this model. Stanford Field there in Louisville, 4.18 inches. Look at Bloomington, Indiana. My goodness, over 9 inches of rain predicted with what the Euro is saying this is going to show. So absolutely insane, ridiculous amounts of moisture. There is, by the way, some verification for this, some corroboration with other models. We just take a look here at what the GFS is wanting to say. GFS getting pretty heavy rain in here as well. Gives us about 3 for Evansville, only an inch there over the next several days for Louisville, but 5 inches up there in Bloomington. That's better than 9. 3 inches there is better than the 6 or 7 that the Euro is predicting, but this is still heavy rain, all right? The bottom line is, over the coming few days, the rain is going to start, and it's not going to be an all-soaker rain where we never get any breaks. It's going to come in multiple waves, but by the time it's all said and done, next midweek, we're going to be measuring in inches here rather than tenths of an inch. And I do think a solid 4 to 6 inches of rain across the area seems like a very, very reasonable bet at this point. There might be some areas slightly less than that. I hope there are, because that's a whole lot of rain. But I think 4 inches and above is a solid bet for the area at this point. Now, Western Kentucky, probably going to get just a little bit less. It looks like this is going to be, and I think this is a pretty reasonable expectation on this. Based on what the Euro and what the GFS have been consistently showing, I would draw a line around like this area to be sort of the heaviest swath of precipitation. Lighter as you head to the south of that, but from in here, basically I think what we're going to say is 4-inch plus rains are going to be extremely common as we head throughout this, and That's unfortunate, but that's the way it's going to be. Let me time it out really quickly for you on a couple of future radar views, giving you an idea what's going on. Pretty much dry on Thursday, some spotty stuff. Friday, not really impressive with our rain chances either here, but maybe a little bit. As you head into Saturday, here's what you got going on. Now the rain starts to break out Friday night into Saturday morning. But notice we do have some dry breaks. Here you come on Saturday morning, and there's a little bit of dryness down here over parts of the area. But then you've got multiple waves continuing to come in here. And then by the time you head into the overnight hours, some very heavy rain possible, there on Sunday morning as well. Every model run is going to be a little bit different. This was the model run from this morning. Here's the model run from this afternoon. A little bit different than that as well. You put this into motion and you get here to Saturday, and you notice by Saturday morning you don't have a whole lot going on across the area until you get to about mid-morning. Then it starts, and then you've got almost an all-day soaker there on Saturday with that. But then it moves it out of the area, and you don't get a whole lot on Sunday with this particular model. So the bottom line is, folks, I can't tell you. Oh, well, if you say, well, Michael, I've got a picnic at 11 a.m. on Saturday. I can't tell you whether it's going to rain at your location or not at this point with the way the models are handling this. I just can't. What I can tell you is that there is a solid chance of rain on Saturday. In fact, I put it at 100% in the forecast. There will be rain on Saturday. There will be rain on Sunday. There will be rain on Monday. I'm confident of that. About 100% chance all 3 of those days. It's not going to rain solid all 3 of those days. It's going to be wave after wave. You'll get one wave move in, you'll have a little bit of a break in the action, and then you'll have another wave move in, and each of those waves may last several hours, and you may get a few hours of a break in between them. That's just going to be the nature of the beast here that we're going to be dealing with. This is a tropical system. There's heavy moisture coming with it. By the time it's all said and done, we're going to be looking at a lot of rain. Are there flooding concerns with this? Absolutely, there are some flooding concerns with this. I don't think flash flooding is going to be the biggest threat with this, though. Now, if we get some just heavy downpours, there could be some temporary flash flooding problems. That's certainly a possibility. But I think the bigger threat this is going to be small streams and creeks and rivers and things like that, especially the low-lying land surrounding them, those areas that are normally susceptible whenever the creeks and those things start to rise. That's going to be pretty full. Unfortunately, if you got crop fields and houses and other things that are in those low-lying areas, there could be under the gun. You'll really want to keep an eye on it. And let's just cross our fingers and pray and hope for the best that we don't get nearly as much rain as being predicted. But again, folks, a solid 4 inches or more, I think, is a reasonable bet. And I have feelings there are going to be several people around here that get significantly more than that over the coming days. Again, it's not going to be happening all on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be Saturday through Wednesday of next week that we get those totals. All right, so we've got a little bit of a range there at least, and that is a good thing. You go to southernindianaweather.com. You can get your updated 10-day forecast by clicking on 10-day forecast. There's the rain, folks. If there is any good news with this, it's going to cool down after this front moves through significantly. Say goodbye to the 90s for a while. It's going to get nice and cool. 83 Saturday, 78 on Sunday, 80 Monday, 79 Tuesday, lower 80s as you head into next week. So it will be a pattern change. Goodbye to the 90s for a while. It looks like the lower 80s are going to dominate much of the period, but again, a lot of rain there with that as well. And unfortunately, as we look into the rest of August, as I showed in the last video and in some of my blog posts that I've done this week, that pattern looks to hold really for the next little while, pretty much all through the rest of August. A very active weather pattern setting up. Will leave us a little bit cooler, like the into the 80s, definitely. 90s are going to be hard to reach as we head past this weekend for a good little while. That's a good thing at least, but it's going to bring plenty of rain with it, unfortunately. All right, folks, that is it for this update. Remember, if you go to southernindianaweather.com and click on the blog up here, you can have all kinds of information that you don't get here on the videos. I did some information today about the meteor shower tonight. You can find that out. All kinds of these. I release blogs almost daily, so be sure to check the website there for more up-to-date information. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. That's it for this video update, folks. Have a great night. Stay safe. I'll have another one of these for you probably on Saturday.